Let's be honest, your place is starting to look more like a storage unit than an actual home. You watched a couple of minimalism videos trying to figure out how to go forward with this, and girl, same. You're not alone, so welcome to the moment. Before you start tossing socks like it's a competitive sport, just take a second. There are so many decluttering methods out there, and most of them are either super vague, way too complicated, or clearly made for people who live in super aesthetic homes. Like, we're not living in those homes. We're actually normal people. But this list, it's none of that. Think of it as your down-to-earth, actually helpful guide to clearing out the chaos and maybe figuring out yourself a little in the process. Rushing this process is a total rookie mistake. If you're decluttering like it's a timed workout, you're actually missing the point. It's not about having a spotless house by 8 p.m. It's about figuring out why you have so much stuff to begin with, what actually matters to you, and how to stop impulse buying things that just end up living in a messy drawer somewhere. So take a breath, block off a day when you're feeling good and relaxed, and put on a playlist that makes you feel great. Open a window and just start. You don't have to do your whole life at once. This isn't a Marie Kondo marathon, girl. Just start somewhere. If you find yourself spiraling mid-stock drawer, honestly, that's part of the process and you're doing great. Some realistic low-effort places to start decluttering, the ones that give you quick wins and build momentum without frying your brain, is that one drawer. You know the one I'm talking about, the junk drawer. Everyone has it, and we all fill it with expired coupons, dead batteries, tangled cords, pens, random papers, and mystery keys. I don't know. I suggest starting by cleaning that drawer out, and suddenly you'll feel like a functional adult. Another great place to start is your bathroom cabinet, because let's be honest, when was the last time you actually looked at what's in there? I would start by tossing anything expired, crusty, or weirdly sticky. Also, you don't need 7 tiny hotel lotions just in case. And if your mascara is dried out, girl, it's time. It's time to let it go. It's not coming back to life. If you haven't touched a product in a year, or if it's not part of your regular skincare routine, it's just taking up space. Let it go. If you're into this kind of content, please go ahead and hit like and subscribe. It really helps the channel. And drop a comment down below to let me know what you want to see more of next. The next thing I recommend is to declutter by category and not by room. If you go room by room, you'll naturally miss things. Why? Because your house is a maze full of duplicates. You got scissors in 4 places, chargers in 6, and 10,000 pens lying around, half of which don't even work. If you're decluttering your kitchen, you'll just find more of the same stuff in another room. So don't do that to yourself. Instead, choose a category like mugs, skincare products, expired sauces, books, or clothes, and gather everything in that category in one spot and face it head on. Also, start with the easy stuff. Don't start with your childhood teddy bear or love letters from your ex. That's a total decluttering trap. Start with things that have no emotional pull on you, like broken cords, that ugly bowl you hate, or random socks. Because this way you can get some easy wins first, and it'll be so much easier to build momentum. With momentum, you'll feel more emotionally stable and a little bit more confident, and that's when you can move on to the harder stuff. Pile everything together, and this step will definitely hurt your feelings, and that's the point. Pull every item from that category into one massive, terrifying pile. Laundry baskets, storage units, car trunks, your parents' house. This is what I call visual shock therapy. You won't realize how much stuff you own until it's all sitting right there in front of you, silently judging you. Now, this is where it starts to get a little bit more fun. You can start going through the pile. I recommend including a to-be-fixed pile. If something's broken, but you might fix it someday, well, now is someday, girl. If you find something like that, put it in the pile and ask yourself, will I realistically fix this? And do do I even like it enough to bother? If the answer is yes, set a deadline. Put it in your calendar or write it down somewhere you actually check every day. If it's not fixed by that day, girl, just toss it. It's gone. We're not keeping things for our imaginary future self who suddenly loves to DIY or want to start pottery or something like that. No, we're decluttering for who you are today. Another great tip I have is to take your stuff out of context. Your things have a power on you when they're sitting in their usual spot. What I mean about that is that when something's where it's always been, you don't really see it anymore. It feels comfortable and very familiar in that spot. So take it out of that spot. For example, put your clothes in the living room or dump your skincare on the table. This forces you to look at your things in a new light, like literally. And it breaks the spell that make it feel like they belong there. That sweater that looked fine in your closet might suddenly look like a sad pilled rag under natural light. So do this and just let it go. Another big mistake we all make is confusing decluttering with organizing. Decluttering is about removing things from your life, and organizing is about hiding things more efficiently in your home. It's really hard to separate the two when you're in the middle of it, but if you start organizing halfway through decluttering, you're not actually fixing the problem. You're just rearranging your clutter and calling it productivity. Please don't fall for that trap. I've done it many times and it never works. The point is to actually get things out of your house and out of your life, not just hide them in another cupboard or drawer. So first, purge, then you can organize later. Put sentimental stuff aside for later. It's so easy to spend hours getting caught up in emotional things. I've done that myself and I've regretted it every single time. When you find something sentimental, it often leads to finding more. Suddenly, you've completely derailed your whole process. Please don't do that just because you found an old birthday card from 2011, okay? Take that card and acknowledge that it's emotional or sentimental, and then set it aside. I'd make a separate pile for emotionally charged items and promise yourself that you'll come back to them later and actually do it. A lot of us confuse sentimental with sacred, but they're not the same thing. When we're decluttering, it's easy to want to keep everything that triggers a positive emotion. But sentimental does not mean sacred. It just means slower decision making. It's really important to separate those two. I also recommend using the 3-bin system, which I call keep, let go, and maybe. Yes, it's totally okay to have a maybe pile because, let's be honest, we're human and you're not just gonna instantly decide to keep or toss everything. Sometimes things do fall into a gray area and that is totally fine. But here's the key. Don't let the maybe pile become the new clutter. Revisit it in about a week with fresh eyes and a little colder judgment. That way you can keep decluttering that pile too. And when you go through that pile, keep using the same system. Keep, let go, and maybe until that maybe pile gets so small that it's basically just stuff you don't need at all. And last but not least, let your space breathe and let yourself breathe too, because once you've cleared the clutter, your space might feel a little bit weird. It might even feel empty or a bit depressing at first, but honestly, that's completely normal. When everything is lying around, it feels very comforting. We get used to the visual chaos, so when it's gone, emptiness can feel wrong, but it's not a bad thing. It's just something your brain isn't used to yet. So give it a few weeks and let your mind catch up. Don't fall into the trap of filling your space with new clutter just because it feels strange. It is so easy to do this and I have done it before. It is not a good feeling knowing that you've done all this work just to have it be filled with new stuff that you're gonna throw out in a couple of weeks or a couple of months. So please resist the urge to do that and stay strong. When you've adjusted to the emptiness, then you can decide if something is actually missing. And when you do, don't rush out to buy new things right away. Instead, write down what you think is missing on a list. Keep that list for a couple of weeks, then revisit it again. If it still feels like those things are missing, you can consider replacing them, but most of the time, trust me, you'll realize they weren't missing at all. We just like to fill our little brains and our little spaces with more stuff, so that's your spoiler alert. You don't need permission to let go of the things that no longer fit your life. You just need a trash bag, some some honesty, and a little patient with yourself. Minimalism isn't about never buying anything again. That's where people get it wrong. It's about choosing what stays and making sure the things that stay in your life actually makes you happy and actually matter to you. So set a date, pick a category, and get real about the stuff that's taking up way too much space in your home and in your head. I love talking about stuff like this, so head over to my channel if you want to see more, and thanks for watching.